I think it's F5. All right, this is chapter 1 out of the book. Okay. I think it's the older edition, not your edition, but it's still going to be close. We will be doing something along the lines of some of this stuff in here, but we'll talk more about that in a minute. This is about ethics of hacking and cracking. Do you think all hackers are bad? No. And was anyone here last year when you had Kevin Mitnick come? Very interesting talk. Did anyone read his book?
I haven't read it yet.
That's really interesting book. It was kind of funny because, like I said, I have issues with my stepson. He loved it. He literally grabbed that book and read the entire thing in a weekend. He was asking all now what's this and what's this and what's this. And, like he knows binary now. And last night he writes binary numbers from like 1 to 100 and something. And he converts them all to ASCII, all by hand and everything. And I says, good. Now I'm going to teach you trinary. He's like, what? I said binary, trinary. It's just instead of 0 and 1, now 0, 1, and 2. So at least I know what he likes. He likes technology-based stuff. But Kevin Mitnick is kind of what we're going to talk about in this chapter, at least parts of it. Okay, a lot of objectives, but we're going to jump right in here. Okay, this is computer cracking, a term for illegally hacking into a system without the permission. Think that ever happens? Yeah, all the time. Didn't really hack into the system, but you always see in the news, I think it was this week, the guy who said he got into the Obamacare website in, was it 4 minutes or 4 hours or something? He really didn't break into it. It was really that they were exposing some stuff. Okay? It says, despite the motivations, it is a crime. Okay? All right. 2 kinds, good guys and bad guys. White guys or white hat hackers and black hat hackers. Right? You think you could be kind of in the middle? I'd say you could. You're really good or bad, but are you always bad? I don't know. Okay. So white hat says the good guys. Black hat are the bad guys. Okay. So let's see. Who's got he's got a black hat on there. He's bad. All right. It says everything the good guy does is right, legal, and justified. Okay. Hopefully, if you're a good guy, you're a good guy at all aspects of it. Okay. Gray hat is you're not quite perfect in either. It says the dichotomy, of good and evil is not a very good fit. So I'm saying, is everything perfect? It's kind of like the deal that people said that 100% of students at one point or another will cheat on something. I totally believe that. You know, when I went to the University of Tulsa, now, okay, what do you think about this? University of Tulsa, they have some very tough exams, master's level. But the students would take the exams for the prior semesters, and you literally could just get a CD from them with every exam for the last 10 years. And you would hope that the exam didn't change too much. So is that cheating? But the teachers knew we were doing it. Nowhere did they say you can't use it. They would literally pass the CDs around with all the prior exams. But Dr. Snow would change his exam too darn much sometimes. Or he'd change it just a little to really, like you focus on one way of doing it, he'd change it so it went the other way. And it's like, darn. So was I cheating? I was just using an available resource.
You still have to study for it.
Still have to study, exactly.
And if the teacher's giving it out?
Well, the teachers weren't giving it out. But prior students would take their exams and share them with people.
Well, you pay to take practice certification.
Exactly. So, I mean, it's not always clear cut here. Okay? All right. So, again, we have white hat, gray hat, black hat. So, what do you think of these anonymous guys you always hear in the news? They kind of think they're good guys. I would tend to differ with that.
Robin Hood.
Yeah, Robin Hood. There you go. Robin Hood. All right. Okay, hacker says, hacking requires that the practitioner be infinitely familiar with the techniques. Now, do you have to be totally familiar to be a hacker? Not necessarily. There's something called script kiddies. We can download scripts to do stuff. I talked about that in computer security class, but yeah, you can download stuff all the time. It says reading and techniques used by both ethical and malicious hackers are identical. I mean, breaking passwords is still breaking passwords. But the point is, are you going to do it to break in and steal credit card information from Target, which was through malware, or you can do something good with it. Okay? It says profile of a hacker is multifaceted. Okay, there are conventions, black hat. Some of you heard about that, I'm assuming, and DEF CON, stuff like that. Okay? There's a video. I'm going to show you where it's at here. I'm trying to make this class a little better for you guys. Now, I put a link on here called Videos Worth Watching. And if you go to that link, The first one is that video on there. It's about 20 minutes long. It's excellent. It's about a hacker who got his computer stolen. And he was basically terrorizing the guy who stole his computer. So watch the video. It's very entertaining. So I highly recommend you watch that. Okay? But yeah, I mean, he had pictures of the guy, and he basically, and I think he ended up getting him arrested at the end, didn't he? I think he did. I think he did. Oh, Roy got his laptop stolen. And you were terrorizing the guy for a while. Never did get it, did you? Never went to the cops?
No, actually, Caleb called me a few days ago. He was like, hey, you should go talk to the police. They might have your laptop. I was like, oh, yay, cool.
But what did you had on there, something on there so you could see what he was doing?
I had Firefox Sync on there, which basically syncs history, bookmarks.
So it's kind of like photo streaming in Apple.
Not exactly, but similar.
Yeah. Well, a lady on a Disney cruise, you think Disney is wonderful, had her iPhone stolen, or she lost it. It turned out it was stolen by one of the people on the boat. And after she got off the cruise, these pictures start appearing on her other Apple devices, because photo stream, it syncs with all your Apple devices. All these pictures start appearing on her phone of all the crew members, of even a picture at a party with the captain of the boat. So, yeah, so it's kind of funny. But watch this video, kind of interesting. It's about 20 minutes long, okay? So we have novices, little programming skill, little knowledge of computers. I mean, when did you all learn about computers? I learned on an old TRS-80 color computer, 4K of RAM, no storage.
Wow.
So you literally turned it on, you'd write your program, play the game, do whatever you want to do, turn it off, it's gone. Next day, turn it back on. That's how I learned computers. I learned programming, like Visual Basic, on a weekend. The guy came to me on a Friday and said, I really need this program written. It was for Trucks for You. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's a trucking line called Trucks for You. They needed a way to automatically transfer GPS data every so many minutes. Had to be written in VB. I had never used VB in my life. So I went and learned it that weekend, wrote it, and sold it to him for $750 on Monday. So that's how you do this, if you learn by playing with stuff, okay? How about this third one now, internals, okay? Internals are pretty much the largest threat. I would say, like example, at Walmart, maybe I'm working the night shift at the loading dock. One Xbox for Walmart, one Xbox for me. How are they going to know? So internal employees are probably the biggest, okay? You got coders who just write code to do stuff. The whole Target thing, was 110 million credit cards now, I guess? Was, the last I heard, you might be able to correct me, it's a malware that came from a guy in Russia, if I remember right. Okay. The funny thing was, Dr. Schnoit mentioned something a year ago about a major flaw of something with a major retailer and credit card skimmers. So I'm wondering if he had some prior information. I don't know if he did or not, but that was just some guy wrote this piece of malware and somebody basically bought. I think they said the malware was selling for $1,800. I don't know. And how many credit cards got stolen with that? It's just amazing, okay? Could be professional criminals. Everybody uses a computer nowadays, one aspect or another. Could be hacktivists, you're hacking for a reason, okay? So it could be curiosity. Anyone ever been curious? Just to see if you could do something? I love taking stuff apart, trying to figure out how it works, putting it back together, making it work better, okay? All right, love of puzzles. I love puzzles, that kind of stuff, okay? Desire for recognition or fame. I did this. I used to work for an ISP downtown when I first got out of the Air Force. And their system, and I left. And we left not under the best of terms, because I worked all these hours and they weren't paying me for the hours. Oh, you only have to work 20 hours a week, and they're working like 40 or 50. I said, you need to fix this. They didn't, so I left. Well, right after that, their computers all got hit with a code red virus. If you know anything about the code red virus, it really didn't do much. It renamed your pages, put a page up hacked by Chinese. That's all it really did. Easy fix even. All their servers got hit. And they had no one, because I left, they literally had nobody. It was the accountant and his girlfriend that were stealing from the company. That's all there was. And we need this fixed. I says, you know what? Write me that check for all those hours and pay me for $100 an hour for fixing your problem. And I need the money up front. So they did. And I went in, took about an hour and I fixed it. But now, was I bad by doing that? No, they owed me the money anyway. But that whole Chinese, hacked by China, hacked by whatever it was, hacked by Chinese or something, that was kind of like recognition of the Chinese. So, okay, could be for revenge. Okay, could be for financial gain. Maybe I'm trying to steal money. Credit card theft's a big deal. Could be patriotism or politics. Okay. Now, how about ethical hacking? It says ethics are principles of conduct, and the funny thing is, everybody wants to know about ethics. Y'all know what ethics is? Doing the right thing. Okay. When I was in the military, it was what? Integrity, service before self, and integrity above all. That's what it was when I was in the Air Force. It's kind of what we're talking about. It's like, we're learning how to break into computers, but are we doing it so you can go rob First National Bank on the corner? No. We're doing it to help find exploits and help fix problems. Okay? It says, without a published code of ethics, it's difficult to gain public trust. Okay? And we're going to talk more about that. It says, network security is emerging from a chaotic set of conflicting ethics. Because a lot of people still think today you should not be taught how to break passwords. In forensics, we teach like 8 or 10 different kinds of password breaking. Maybe not 10, but quite a few. Now, do we do that so you can go out and start breaking passwords? But what's nice about it is I actually use those skills. Like Rose State, every so often they'll contact me. My favorite one was they called me and said they got a spreadsheet with all the information about the vehicles of Rose State College. They forgot the password. They really, really needed it. Can I break it for them? So I stuck it in FTK, and it was like, go done. I'm like, it was car.
Oh my gosh.
It was car. I'm like, wow. And actually, one of our prior accountant instructors was my accountant for a while there. She contacted me. A company had contacted her. They use QuickBooks, if you know what accounting software is. Their accountant put a password on it and quit. They really needed the data. What are they going to do? So she goes, how much you charge me? I said, $150. She said, okay. She gave it to me. I went on Google, break QuickBooks password, downloaded an app, and hit go, and it did it. I had the password within seconds. I waited till the next day. Then I gave it to her because I didn't want her to think that you did it in 5 minutes for $150. But, kind of funny. But again, we don't do this to, be bad. We do it to learn how it works. Okay? All right. Evolution started way back when. It says the modern concept of hacking began in the late 1950s. I had to do a report for one of my PhD classes, and I did it on spam. And the funny thing is, according to Google, spam started like 1980 or 1982, I think, was the first recorded piece of spam out there. That's totally false. Steve, I can't remember the guy's name now, because of the P. Way back in 1972, when ARPANET was just starting, he actually wrote a paper that said, hey, I'm getting some emails that I did not request. If this continues, this is going to basically go rampant and take over the world like spam has. So way back then, they even had issues when they very first started. He goes, I'm getting messages from the servers that I did not request. So kind of what's happening today. You're getting junk mail you're not requesting. Okay, but there's some books out there. There's a book called Hackers from Stephen Levy. It talks about MIT Model Train Club, and in there they talk about when they get the first mainframe and how they started implementing passwords on the first mainframe. Well, what they did was they put a note above the terminal. Hey, when it asks for your password, just hit enter. It's easier. They take that on the terminal. So all the employees at MIT would just hit enter. Kind of crazy. Okay. I had a client of mine downtown who refused to make the employees put passwords on their accounts. I told him over and over, I said, not a good plan, because, no, my company, you're going to do what I tell you. So what did I do? I let him have blank passwords. I mean, I kept warning him, and to this day, I don't take care of them anymore, but I'm not sure they still have blank passwords. It would kind of suck if they did. But, and actually, no, they do have passwords, that's right. But if I remember right, they're all the same, I think. I heard something else about it, but it was, I was like, no. Because actually one of the employees, that's what they called me a little while, about last year, and he wanted something about it, and I asked him about his passwords, and he says, yeah, they're all the same, that's what it was. And I said, why? Why don't you let them pick their own passwords, but then we can't get into their account? Since you don't want it in their account. but it's our company. I said, yeah, but that's a whole nother issue you got going here. So, it's kind of crazy. Okay, it says the first password hacks were responsibly compatible time-sharing system in the early 60s. So it's happened way back when. Okay. Phone phreaking. Anyone ever see the War Games movie? Excellent. Was that Matthew Broderick? Excellent movie. You've never seen it? I think it costs like $1.99 at Walmart. You can buy it. I don't know if it's on Netflix. It might be. But excellent, excellent movie. They have war dialers. When I was up at the University of Tulsa, we had a project to do an audit, basically, of the Oklahoma Health Science Center. Since I lived here, I would come home on weekends. They were going to have me basically war dial every phone number at the Health Science Center. That was my part of the project. Got all the way up until the night before. They said, Ken, don't do it. You know why? Well, because a lot of the numbers went to patients' rooms. And they didn't want every patient in the hospital being woken up at 2 in the morning with computers calling them. So they said, no, we're not calling, we're not dialing in. So we didn't do that aspect of the project. But yeah, kind of fun. So watch that movie. Okay.
Hey kid, you should pause your recording.
Hold on. You find out how to pause it.
I can wait. There's no point in stuff. Hear that tonight.
All right. You ever heard of the Captain Crunch? Actually used a whistle to... It was 2600 hertz, I think, if that was right, and he would use it. It was the same tone as money going into a payphone. Well, here's a picture of him, John Draper, and I actually put another video up here. It's the second one here. It's under the History of Hacking documentary. Really good. It's about 50 minutes long. I think it talks about phone phreaking up into about 15 minutes worth. It's really, really interesting. There was a guy in there, I can't remember his name, but he could actually whistle the tones. So he could literally whistle into a phone with just his mouth and call people. It's just amazing. That was one of the issues with Kevin Mitnick. They said he was such a bad guy because he could whistle into the phone and launch nuclear missiles. That's why he was, all the way for such a long time. It was pretty interesting. But I think it's a good. So I'm going to start putting links to the videos on here so you can go watch them and find them easier. And see, YouTube no longer has a size limitation. I don't know if y'all know that. It used to be 15 minutes and such a megabyte. No more limits. So I can put all my stuff up there, and it's pretty handy. Okay. I did start it, didn't I? Is it changing? Okay, yeah, it's going. Okay. And while I'm at this point, let me show you this real quick. If you want to see the videos from the last semester that I didn't put up there yet, if you go to wordpress.rose.edu, this is where we have stored them. And if you go to like business division right here, you can see all my old class. You can see everybody's classes, actually. And if you go to this class, you can actually see the recordings from last year. Okay. I'm going to move them over to the other page as well, but they're there for you. And now if you go to this page, go to YouTube, here's where I'm moving them to. If you search for like CIT2603, oops, get a period in there, it should show you the videos for this class. So I'm putting it there as well. I'm putting forensics on there, so you search for...
Do you have like a channel where we can subscribe to?
Yeah, you can subscribe to my channel. Yeah, they're all in there. You can go. There's all my forensics videos and everything. But what I'm doing is... Where is my thing here? What I'm doing is I'm going to put the recordings up here as I make them. And I'm going to have the prior year and the current year. That way you'll be able to watch last year's version of Chapter 1 and this year's. It does change a little bit each semester. I add to it and change stuff. But that'll be available for you guys to watch. But all right, so if you get a chance, go watch that video. I watched the whole thing. It's wonderful. I think it's phone phreaking goes for about 15, 16 minutes worth. So kind of interesting stuff. Okay, evolution. Says computer hacker described computer experts with malicious intent. Are we all malicious? I would not say we were, but a prime example of something that might be malicious, might not. Rose State had a Halloween costume contest. Okay, had it this year, Halloween, and then on the website they posted, "Here, pick your winner." There's no authentication, no nothing. So I messaged Roy. Roy, it'd be kind of funny if number 7 had like 2 million votes. So he wrote a little script. Sure enough. I think you expected 2 million votes, but how many did they end up getting? Like 12,000?
My script started skipping at at some point because they changed it. So I don't.
But they were freaking out when they saw this one costume was getting thousands and thousands of votes. So, was that right? Not necessarily. I thought it was kind of funny, though.
More of a prank.
More of a prank, exactly. And they were very, very upset. Oh, you would not believe how upset they were. We're disrupting Rose State business. I'm like, Halloween costume? On a website that has no authentication. I mean, it wasn't even on the internal website. It was on an external one. There's no personal data's on there. It was not even names. It's like, but they didn't think it was too funny. But, so, we're not necessarily mean, but I like pointing out flaws in things. Okay.
Seriously, it was a glorified tab robot.
I know that all his thing does was tab, 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 enter. Tab, 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 enter. That's all it did, basically. It just tabbed down and hit enter. So it was pretty funny. Okay. So, do you agree that there's a need for ethics in this field? Most definitely. Most definitely, because some of the stuff you learn, you know, I've taught intro to computers before, where people come into class and says, I got a new computer. I've never plugged it in. And I've also taught people who know more than I do. Okay? So there's a varying range of stuff there, but with this knowledge, you can become a bad guy. You can, you know, we're going to be using Metasploit and Armitage this semester. Those tools are amazing. You can break into pretty much anything that has a flaw in it. Now, does that mean we're doing it to break in? No, we're doing it, it's really there to show, hey, there are flaws in your system. So we're going to be using that in this class. So I'm not teaching you it so you can go to your work, run it on your work network, and find stuff. And most of the stuff we do in this class, I hope you don't do it at your work network. That would be a bad thing. Okay? That's actually one of the issues me and Roy has. We use a lot of these tools to test them, like we use Kane. We're going to play with Kane later. But for some reason, Rose State doesn't like that on their network. I don't know why, but there are just some issues with some of the software. Okay. But there is a certified ethical hacker certification, which is actually goes through, it's not ISC squared. Is it GA? I can't remember who they're through. See, there's a lot of them here. There's the CompTIA, Security Plus. There's CISSP through ISC squared. There's lots and lots of certification out there. So I always get the question, are certifications good? I would say yes, they are. And no, they're not. For instance, I have an MCSE. You know what that is? Microsoft Certified Systems Engineer. An NT 4.0. I'm also certified in Novell 311. Yeah, you've been knocking my door down for that job. Boy, certifications are good, but they change a lot. Like right now, CISSP is probably the best certification in this area. You know, in IT security. Now, what's it going to be in 10 years? I don't know. Right now, we currently offer the CNSS certifications, which are federal certifications. You work for the federal government, you know, DoD contractors, they're great. But I talked to, what's your name at the end?
Debbie.
I talked to Debbie the other day. No one knows this yet, but the 4011 through 4016 at the moment is not being renewed. I was at the NIST headquarters up in Maryland, DC, wherever I was at a couple months ago. And they were talking about renewing the 4011 to 4016 and renumbering them to 4021 through 4026, just a newer version. Well, Lynn Hathaway and Karen Lecter, those are the two people in charge of the program. Big meeting at the NIST headquarters. Really awesome place, by the way. We're in this big meeting, and someone says, hey, I heard rumors that they're discontinuing the certification program. Does anybody in this room know anything about it? Lynn Hathaway, Karen Lecter, both in the room. Silence. So you mean no one in this room knows anything about it? No one said a word. What's that telling me? Something's happening. They're thinking about, we heard they were going to move them over to the Department of Education. If that does, they're gone. Because right now they're being, the NSA is taking care of them. If it's moved to the Department of Ed, you might have get rid of them. But last year, they were updating. They might still be updated, but we have been told when ours expire, which I think ours are somewhere between 2015 and 2017, you cannot submit for renewal because it's supposed to be updated. But that was in like October, and now we're in January, and we still haven't got any word on it. So certifications are good. Will they still be valuable? Yeah, the government will still accept them. But sooner or later, if stuff's not, like my NT4 is not updated. Can you imagine me? Go to Dell, I'm going to get a job. I'm certified in NT4. And like, and why are you here? Okay. But Security Plus, another good certification right now. Like it's ISC squared has quite a few. That's what CISSP and the GIAC. There's SSCP. There's lots of really good certifications out there. But the problem with some of them also is they're book certifications. You can read a book and pass it, but you really actually have the knowledge behind it. If you complete our program here at Rose State with the right electives, you can get all of the 6 certifications. And you will have the knowledge to get the CISSP. Okay? The CISSP is the certification that covers everything in the field, half an inch deep. That's what's bad about it. Like in computer security, we cover DES quite in depth. Homework on it and everything. One question on the DES, how big is the key? I mean, they want to know this much about it. I mean, it's a good certification. I have it. It's got an 80% failure rate.
Once you take it, you never want to take it.
Exactly. When I started, the test was on paper. I was going through there, and I was marking the ones I want to go back and check. I think it's 250 questions, is that right?
6 hours.
After about 200 questions, I'm like, oh my God, I'm dead. I ain't checking out. I started going through, and I passed. So obviously I knew something. But I didn't even go back and look at everything over. My brain was dead. I just wanted to get out of that room. It asks you everything. Imagine anything in the field on one test. This is what it is. But it's a good certification. It's very broad, just not very much depth. Yes.
Don't you have to have experience though? I mean,
Yes, you do. You have to be recommended to take it.
Right.
And you have to have a certain amount of experience in the area. Now, you can get it without the experience, but it's
Called an associate.
an associate or something. Once you get experience, you can
Then
upgrade
you get
it.
the experience, and it's kind of like you're working in the field.
Right.
You get the experience, I guess, that
Can be upgraded.
upgraded.
And as long as you keep doing your CPE, your educational credits, and pay their $85 a year, whatever it is, you can keep it. But skip a year, I heard, and you got to start all over again. I ain't skipping. I ain't taking that one again. Now that test
It
was,
forces you to really study a lot of things, so it's good in that respect.
right, it is. I mean, I like the fact that I go to conferences that get credit for it. I went to the Information Warfare Summit. That was good. I got credit for that. You can read magazines and get credit for that. You can take classes here and get credit for it. So there's lots of ways to get credit. It's better than a certification where you don't require that and you never learn anything else. So it's really good, but it's just a tough test. Okay? So there's a lot of them out there. I said there's the CISSP and there's EC Council. That's EC Council is the ethical hacking one. But lots. I mean, there's software. There's FTK. There's NCASE. There's pretty much everything out there. And I just learned just recently my NCASE certification is due this year. Remember renewal? And I have to have training from NCASE or go to NCASE's conference to keep. What the heck is that? I mean, they want more money from me is what it is. It's like, yes, you must go to so many hours of NCASE training or go to NCASE conference. I'm like, I haven't told my boss yet. So he might be sending me to NCASE conference. So. All right, but they, there are, like they say, are vendor neural certifications. They're not geared toward Microsoft or toward Novell or toward whoever. They touch on pretty much everything. Then there are vendor ones like CCNA, the Cisco certification and stuff like that, and Microsoft certification and stuff like that. Nothing against Microsoft; it's a great certification, but you need to keep updating it. And I should have updated mine. When I got my NT4, I could have taken one test and upgraded to whatever the next one was, 2000 or something. I just never did. So, all right.
But Microsoft likes to outdate theirs. They just outdated server 08, like.
Already?
Yeah, it's
Wow. Wow. All right. So what needs to be secured? Does anyone here have a backup system for their home network? I use something called Carbonite. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of it. I pay $54 a year, unlimited backups. I'm currently backing up 216 gigs. I actually back up my office computer because Rosate doesn't have a backup. They're like, oh, if you want to back up, let us know. We'll bring you over an external CD-ROM. And I have a 500 gig hard drive. That's going to work good. But Carbonite cost me $54 a year. I back up my work computer, and the important stuff at my home synchronizes my work computer. So I'm really backing up home and work for $54 a year. I highly recommend it. It's wonderful. Just backs up everything automatically. I've deleted stuff and just restored it. Does versioning, so you can, ooh, I want the one from 6 months ago or a year ago. Called Carbonite. It's pretty cheap. There are other ones out there. Like I just saw this week, I have Cox at home, Cox Internet. I get 50 gigs for free, which is nice. They also have Dropbox, which is what, up to 25 gigs, and I have Live from Microsoft, which is 25 gigs, and Google Drive, and there's lots of places. So you really have no reason why you shouldn't be backing stuff up. One of my clients, I talked them into getting an online backup system, and they were upset with the cost. It wasn't very much, but it's still, why are we paying this? We're never going to need it. Well, I talked them into getting it to be safe. So within a month after, they did title searches for aircraft. And whenever you're going to buy a plane, you got to find out who owned it before you, and all the way down the line. Well, they stored them all on the computer. They're all electronic. Someone deleted the entire letter of the alphabet. They stored them by letters for what, I don't know if it was by name or what, but they deleted the entire letter of the alphabet accidentally off the server. Like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I says, hold on a second. Went into the system, selected that letter, said, give it 10 minutes. She goes back and says, what did you do? I says, you know that service you paid for, you were complaining about? I restored your data. She's like, oh my God, we got to make a note. Don't ever cancel that service. Because the one time when you need it, it was there. Okay. What I like about Carbonite is I can access it from my phone, from my work, from my laptop, from anywhere. And sometimes I'll need something. Like I needed some address off of one of my spreadsheets when I was downtown. I brought up Carbonite on my phone, went to my file system, went to my D drive where the file was stored, opened it right up there, and I could see it perfectly. So it's worth $54 to me.
It's unlimited too, isn't it?
It's unlimited. Like I said, I got 216 gigs at the moment being backed up. So, all right, but everything needs to be backed up.
What's the place in admin storage?
Yes, that's what that company uses. They changed their name.
Something Vault.
Core Vault, yes. That was actually the company that they use. And I saw their facility. They have walls lined with batteries, multiple diesel generators. And it is good. What they say, every 60 seconds is replicated to something in Lawton, I think they said, or something out west. But it's worth the money, because when you lose something, you really need it. Oh, it's tough, okay? But another thing you got to think about, they don't really talk about it here. What if you're backing up top secret data? What security classification should the backup have? Top secret. So just because you're backing up the tape doesn't mean you store the tape in the top drawer of the desk. Hopefully you don't use tape anymore, but I think some places still do. Yeah. Okay. So some places break into systems to utilize what they're considered wasted computer energy. Was it a couple of years ago? Was someone in Oklahoma, I think, was doing like that folding or SETI at home on some Oklahoma government computers and got arrested, something like that. He was, using data. Bill Richards used to teach Linux for us. Works at DISA. He used to run our lab upstairs. He asked me if he could. Installed it just in lab computers. And he was doing SETI at home. They're looking for extraterrestrial life. You download some radar data, analyze it, and get some more. I forgot he was doing it. And I'm up here one week, and I'm looking at the network traffic. I'm like, what the heck is going on? I'm the only one in the building. Well, what it was, his system, when no one was using the system, is when it used it. So he had my permission, so it was fine. But, that's kind of what we're talking about here. They can use wasted stuff. How about bandwidth? Someone accidentally leaves their wireless unprotected. That's an issue as well, okay? So many hackers find it tempting to copy, download, and use proprietary stuff. Read the book for Kevin Mitnick. He was notorious for just getting the latest copy of the cell phone schematics, basically. Never did anything with it. Just wanted it. Okay? My son used to download music. He would have every song out there. Gigs and gigs. I'm like, Nick, if you really want it, I will buy you the CD. But he got it just to get it. He never listened to it. It's like, why are you getting it? Because it's there. But I said, if you want a CD, you tell me, I will buy it for you. You have it. No, but it's there. I said, it's kind of that thing. They just do it. Just look what I got. I got 80 gigs of crap I don't listen to. All right. So ethical issues. The professional hackers have a responsibility to society. You need to, if you see issues with the system, tell them about it. Okay. Sometimes I tell Rose State about issues, and what they tell me is, yeah, you're just trying to shove it in our face that you're smarter than we are. I'm like, no, we're trying to tell you there's a problem. We have a CIT2603, not certification, but designation. They actually gave us money to help with our policies on campus. We hired a student, and we went over to talk to IT about all their policies. We said, where is your backup and recovery policy? It's in our heads. I said, no, where is it written down? It's in our heads. John's like, I know it. Okay, but you're not here. Jimmy knows it. Okay, you and Jimmy both die in a car wreck. Don knows it. Okay, this entire building, yeah, but Mike in the next building knows it too. I mean, but they kept thinking, kept pushing in their face that, but they don't realize that, we had a policy committee on campus. Last time they met was in 2008. I'm just saying, it's probably the time. I use a lot of examples for Rose State, but it's the same with everybody. You get someone in place that does something, then they leave and nothing ever happens. We hired a lawyer in charge of our HR department, got this policy committee going. She left. It's exactly where it was when she left. So, again, it's pretty much everywhere. So as an ethical hacker, a security professional who applies his or her hacking skills for defensive purposes, to find flaws, to help fix them. Just about done. Okay. So some companies prefer to pay a hacker to discover their system weaknesses and security gaps. Kevin Mitnick makes tons of money breaking into people's systems, which is good.
Jason Street that comes up here every
Jason Street does too.
Wednesday.
Yeah. Wednesday nights at 7 p.m.
8:30.
8:30 now?
8:30.
Okay, 8:30 on Wednesday nights. We have the Jason Street Irregulars. If you search for Jason, Jayson, is that right?
I think so.
Jason Street, they basically break into systems. So y'all are welcome to join. It's a great experience. But if you start going regularly, you actually have to talk on something. But just go once or twice to see what it's all about. But Jason is a great guy. What's his thing? He does the uncomfortable hugs. What's it called?
Awkward hugs.
The awkward hug. That's what it was. But yeah, Wednesday night at 8:30. Great. It's up in room 201. Everybody's welcome.
He has a book too that's pretty good to read.
Yeah, I got to read his. But really, and it's free. You're not paying anything. So Wednesday night at 8:30. It says they must have experience in software engineering, network engineering, system security. You need to know everything. And if you hate programming, this is probably the wrong field, by the way. Some people come to me, I hate programming. Well, you need to go work at McDonald's. I don't know. But, all right, so that's pretty much the end of this chapter. We're almost out of time. Okay. Any questions on this chapter? Okay. Next thing I want to talk about real quick, since we're running out of time, I put your first assignment up here. It says we're stalking Roy. That is not true.
Just as a warning, there's
No.
bear traps outside.
That's not true. No, Roy brought up a valid point. We did a stalking exercise in this class. I always assign it like day one. But it never fails. People join the class, people drop the class, and then you end up stalking someone who's no longer in the class, or the guy that was stalking you dropped. So I'll probably wait till week 2 or week 3 to assign it. That way the enrollment calms down a little, and I can come up with a more devious way of doing it.
Because we can't stalk Roy.
Yeah, I can't stop.
I would suggest.
But someone came in my office early. I saw that I'm stalking Roy. I'm like, no, you're not stalking Roy.
I was ready to.
Okay.
I can sort of guide you to his house again.
That's
It
fine.
was dark,
You can come by. I don't even care.
although he might stir the burning moat again.
Okay. There, I said it's a joke.
Not so much a boat.
But you
It's
know.
a fridge.
Someone's still going to stalk Roy.
It's
You
gonna
know
be
it.
great.
You can see it happening.
Oh, I thought we were doing that last semester with the cell phones and all that running around down in Norman.
But someone's going to say, I looked at the assignment on day 1 of class. I saw Roy's name. I never checked it since then. You know that's going to happen. And I'm going to be like, darn it.
That's fine, I'm prepared.
All right. So I will be signing that soon. Maybe next week. Okay. So no questions? Everybody somewhat happy? All right, let me stop this recording.